So this is the thing everybody's talking about. So she told two different stories about how she got fired when she was a special needs teacher, right? So here's the one she tells now. This is what she tells
Teaching
now.
special needs kids is a calling, but I finished the first year visibly pregnant, and back in those days, it meant you didn't get invited back.
Now, that's a true thing that happened to a lot of women, and that's a horrible thing, and we all share in the outrage, and that we should fight against it, and that shit still happens today. No one is denying that's a real thing. Nobody's denying that's horrible. Nobody's denying that happened. We all agree, but why would you lie about it? You didn't have to make up the story, because now it looks like she did. Why? Hang on, here we go.
Teaching special needs kids is a calling, but I finished the first year visibly pregnant, and back in those days, it meant you didn't get invited back. That's how it was. So
it was in a public school system, but I worked with the children with disabilities. And I did that for a year. And then that summer, I actually didn't have the education courses, so I was on an emergency certificate, it was called. And I went back to graduate school and took a couple of courses in education and said, I don't think this is going to work out for me.
And that's it. So those are two different stories. And she's making it up in line. Now, this is not how you beat Trump if what you're running on is, I'm a more moral person than Trump, which is what they're running on. I'm not a liar. He's a liar. He's breaking the norms. I'm going to do the norms. It's the fucking... So here is what Randi Weingarten... Now, if you know who she is, she's the head of the teachers union, Randi Weingarten, and I'm not a fan of hers because she endorsed Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders last time. And when I went out and covered the campaign, all the teachers I met said that they never polled the teachers. They never asked them who they wanted to endorse. That was a top-down decision, and she just did it. Was that correct, Steph?
That is correct, JD.
Thank you very much. So that's more of that rigging the primary. That's her saying the teachers weren't fucking for Hillary Clinton. The teachers were for Bernie Sanders because they know something about history, especially the Clintons' history. So that's why teachers were for Bernie. She said, fuck you, and so I'm not a fan of hers, even though she's a union leader. And so now she tweeted this out. She goes, this happened to all women. This happened to women all the time. Why the attacks on Elizabeth Warren? You know why the attacks, because she told two different stories about it, and she's running against Trump, and he's going to eat her alive. He's going to show that she's fucking lying about this. Okay, that's why the attacks. The attacks, you mean holding someone accountable for the fucking story they tell on the campaign trail is now an attack because she's a woman? Anyway, many women would also leave knowing they would be fired. Elizabeth Warren stands by account of being pushed out of her first teaching job because of pregnancy. That doesn't help. You're not helping her. You're not helping Democrats. This hurts. Any independent person who's leaning Trump sees this and goes, they're all fucking liars. They all make up shit. They're just as corrupt as Trump. And now they're going to protect their own. They're just like Fox News. They're all the same. And you know why? Because they're all the fucking same. That's why. And so I said that because she's on tape saying that's not what happened. But thanks for gaslighting us. It's a great way to oppose a liar by lying and then lying about lying. Please quit lying. It only helps Trump, you fucking integrity challenge morons. There seems to be a lot of women applauding in here. I don't know if you know, but that's sexist. So then out of nowhere, some blue check guy, I thought that's not controversial to say what I said. I didn't think that was controversial at all. The whole room just applauded for me, progressives.
The truth.
And it also happens to be the truth, which gives it that extra oomph, as Bill Hicks used to say. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this blue check guy named Cliff Schechter, I don't know. First of all, that's a great profile pic. I guess he was on his way to play the lead in the Paul Lynde movie. And how was that? He says, maybe you should go back to whatever you did before straining your intellect to try politics. All the nastiness, Jill Steinery, and Seth Rich conspiracies of yours can't hide the fact you're in way over your head. To paraphrase you, you fucking intellectually challenged moron. But he took out the you, so it's not offensive. He took out the you. I'm not making that up. He took out the you, so it's not offensive. I guess I don't know what that is. So I looked up who that guy is. And he's a former Clinton staffer, DNC consultant, who now does PR work. He's a PR guy. And this guy goes, "This is the Clintonest tweet I've seen all day."
I still want to know what Jill Steinery is.
Jill Steinery.
Whoa, that's a little Green New Dealy, Jimmy.
Sounds a little shifty. You like someone who's outside the two major parties. That's a little shifty. I think we should have, I'm going to take your name down and give it to the cops.
This is all working on narrative control.
Yes.
It's controlling the narrative. You can make anything, and I can teach you how to make anything good sound bad. Puppies.
I don't.
Smear it out.
Yeah.
Puppy.
Environmentalism, Jill Steinery.
Ooh.
So I tweeted, did you want to say something, Ron?
Well, I was gonna say you were sounding a little bit Ralph Nadery over there.
Ah!
I was gonna.
So I tweeted this out. I go, "Hey, former Clinton DNC consultant takes break from defending Clinton lying to defend Warren lying." Nice to know that a Jagoff nightclub comedian in his garage gets under your skin just by telling the truth. They're allergic to the truth.
And he's I mean, that explains his profile picture, though. He's a Clinton consultant, so he needed to have a picture with his hand in his mouth because he was so sick of always having his foot in his mouth.
Bam!
Little sorbet.
But he's such a bad Clinton consultant, he actually consulted for Bill Clinton.
He was on Epstein's plane 26 times. He said it was only 4, so God only knows what other evil shit that fucking
Bill
pedophile
Clinton
motherfucker
said he
has
was
done.
on Epstein's plane 4 times, which is horrible. How many times was he on it?
26 flight
26
logs. Oh, his
times.
wife, Hillary, was on. Flight logs indicate twice she was on his planes. So that's just fun. And Ghislaine Maxwell, who was, of course, accused by 2 women of raping and trafficking them, 2 years after they settled out of court, she went to whose wedding? Oh, Chelsea Clinton's wedding. So Hillary invited a pedophile sex trafficker to the wedding that she had with her husband, who's a pedophile, for her fucking horrifying daughter. Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump in there with my Jill Steinery.
That's a conspiracy theory, Graham.
I know.
Those flight logs are a conspiracy theory. I know it's a flight log, but I just say conspiracy theory because it's a flight log I don't like.
Yeah. That's what the FAA is, the Federal Aviation Administration. It's a bunch of fucking wackadoo conspiracy theorists.
See, what I heard happen was they asked Bill Clinton, was there, they were like, "Were you on it 26 times or 4 times?" And he said, "Nah," and they just ended.
Nah, I wasn't even active in pedophilia then. So Jim Earl, who writes for the show, Emmy award-winning writer, he went to this guy Cliff Schecter's, because I don't know who the hell this guy, he went to his Wikipedia page. First of all, his Wikipedia page says that he was a regular on the TYT radio show. I never heard of that guy. I asked everybody at TYT. Nobody's ever heard of that fucking guy. Isn't that funny that it's on his Wikipedia page? He was a regular on TYT. Nobody's ever heard of him. Steve-O, never heard of him. Malcolm, never heard of him. Never heard of him. I swear to God. So Jim Earl went to his Wikipedia page. It says, according to his Wikipedia bio, Cliff is considered to be a progressive. That's what it says on his Wikipedia. He's considered to be a progressive, has a reputation as a proponent of progressive politics, and became politically active out of college as a progressive. So naturally, he went to work for Wall Street and Bill Clinton.
Jim Earl, ladies and gentlemen, over
Jimmy
here. Jim
Earl,
Earl.
take a
In the
bow,
house.
friend.
Take a bow, buddy.
There's more.
Fantastic joke.
There's more. Jim Earl's just getting warmed up. Progressive Cliff worked with Accenture, a $40 billion company noted for hiding money from the IRS in Bermuda, charging the government $297 million to hire 7,500 border agents and progressively abusing workers suffering from PTSD with Trumpian non-disclosure agreements. Also, Cliff, this is his LinkedIn profile. He says, I'm a motivated professional and entrepreneur who works in a growing space where passion and creativity meet at the intersection of public relations and presentation and branding. Translation, I do a fuckload of spam emails. The best is what Jim goes, Cliff, you are the Ellen DeGeneres of Hillary Clinton progressive.
Yes. God bless you, Jim Earl.
And then everybody just pounced on him, right? So everybody pounces on this guy on my Twitter thread. This guy, if you think Jimmy Dore's out of his league, then go on his show or invite him on one of your choosing to discuss it with him if you have the balls. He does not have the balls. He will never come on my show. It was the reason why I can humiliate a guy like that Cliff Schechter. The reason why it's easy to humiliate him and best him is because he's on the wrong side of the issue. Not because I'm smarter. I'm certainly more clever, funny, and have a better personality. But
You forgot better looking. You're better looking.
well, that's obvious.
Better looking.
But I'm not smarter than him. It's just that I'm not a sellout cocksucker and I have a spine. I'm not fucking challenged. My integrity isn't challenged. I haven't spent my entire adult life rationalizing working for bloodthirsty mucking maniacs. That's what I haven't done that. I get to tell my truth because nobody owns me and nobody's my boss. I don't have a job and I don't work for a fucking corporation and I don't want to work for a corporation, which is why it's so easy for me to take down a puke like fucking Cliff Schechter, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Jimmy.
And that's why he'll never come on my show, ever. And I know he's watching. The one thing I know for sure is that fucking guy is watching this video right now. And that fucking pussy will never come on my show. Ever. Ever.
But, Jimmy.
Ever. That's how easy it is for a dummy like me to own those pieces of shit. Because they're on the wrong side of the issues. They're fucking wrong. It doesn't take intellect to know when you're wrong. It just takes integrity. And I've got a fucking bucket load for you, Cliff. That's all it takes.
Jimmy, if he ever does come on the show, though, you have to read that boring-ass LinkedIn bio in a David Axelrod voice. That's how you gotta introduce him.
So now, after I retweeted him and I said he came back.
Oh, no.
He comes back. He goes, LOL, Jim boy. I love when they put boy in there. I guess that's my pronouns. I'm using boy. LOL, Jim boy. I couldn't give two shites about you. He still can't swear. I think he's still in Catholic school. I don't give two shites about you. I know that's why you keep responding on my thread, because you don't give a shite. Though glad it makes you happy to think you're owning the libs. How GOP. So if I humiliate him publicly and point out what an empty vessel he is, now that's me being like a GOPer. That's what he's saying. Oh yeah, you bested me just like Republicans. Yeah, anybody can fucking bet. Louis Gohmert could best you, Cliff. You're on the wrong side. He goes, I responded because you bullied in personal terms a trailblazing woman leader and out lesbian back when it wasn't a safe choice. Classy, give your fellow brosefs a high five. First of all, brosefs from a white guy named Cliff? Really? Hey, Cliff, which billionaire employer of yours has the best tasting boots? So I retweeted his stupid tweet and I said, Former Clinton DNC consultant takes break from defending Clinton lying to defend Warren lying by hiding behind identity politics while virtue signaling. Holding a union leader accountable for lying is now bullying because she's gay. Can't believe these people lost to Trump. Unbelievable. That's so just so you know why, because I know, Cliff, you're still watching this video. We all do. And so does your wife. Don't let your wife watch it, because when you catch her laughing at this video, it'll ruin your marriage.
Yeah, did you hear that, Broseph?
As someone who came out at 16 years old in 1981, long before Randy Weingarten did in her comfortable protective bubble, during the AIDS crisis, because I thought it was important to be out and had some family disown me and wound up in the hospital from gay bashing, I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's calling bullshit on you, Cliff. Yeah, that was a bullshit. So let me throw it to my panel. Oh, by the way, he says, way to dodge. You weren't nice to a corrupt, dishonest, powerful official who happens to be gay. Douchebags don't get kid gloves, and neither will you. Enjoy the ratio. Jimmy's a goddamn national treasure.
Made the classic error. He went after a comedian.
What?
You're the stupidest fuck on earth if you attack a comedian. It instantly inverts on you. The universe just hates you suddenly. Just attacks you. You're done. Boom. Adios, stupid. You attacked a comic. We have this weird comedy Teflon shield. Well, what are you going to do? I'm just a comic. But you're not following all the dictates of the news networks and all that. And you're also... Sank into the pavement. He's gone. Bye. Next.
This guy says, I love identity politics. I love how they matter more than the facts at hand. No one said she's untruthful because she's a woman, and no one says she's a lesbian, therefore she's wrong. So there you go. Fuck you. And I couldn't give two shits about you, and to prove it, I'm reading and replying. Just lying to yourself. You absolutely care what Dore says and represents. He threatens your elite status and self-serving agenda, which is deeply unpatriotic. All I know is that you are way out of your league trying to fuck with a comedian with nothing to lose on Twitter.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a pawn hired to punch down for his masters, thinking he's one of them. Using identity politics as a smear to hide the fact that he supports the haves versus the have-nots. But we outed you. We're outing you, Cliff. This video will be the only one that ever features you that's ever made in the history of the world. And this is the one that everyone's going to see.
Hey, Cliff.
And we got to be here for it. Right on cue.
Hi, Cliff. Hey, buddy.
Don't forget to add pawn who punches down for your masters to your LinkedIn profile.
What's it like working for Wall Street warmongering pedophiles?
I'll tell you what.
And now, Cliff, a dumb guy like me who's in way over his head is going to educate you on how shitty the Democratic Party is via Dylan Ratigan. Now, you know Dylan Ratigan was the guy who told the truth about the banks on MSNBC, and now he has to do his news reports from a dentist office. So here you go, Cliff, because I know you're still watching. Listen up.
The Democrats. The Democrats want you to believe that their party is, of course, wonderful and fabulous and wants to help to save the world and all the rest of this. And they want you to believe that the only problem with the American political system is the Republicans, and more importantly, the corruption of the American political system and the Republicans by the Russians. This, of course, would be the most horrible thing that could come from the current political situation. Because if we allow the Democratic Party to convince anybody, ridiculous they've even convinced themselves, that the primary issue with the American political process is Donald Trump and the Republicans, that validates their capacity to sustain themselves in a disgusting and corrupt fashion. The reality is, the only reason we have Donald Trump as our president and these horrendous Republicans is because of the unadulterated failure and corruption in the Democratic Party. Think about how bad, how unappealing, how offensive Barack Obama and ultimately Hillary Clinton had to be to the American population in order for them to even remotely begin to choose someone like Donald Trump as a better alternative. Think about it, how bad people have to view the level of corruption in the Democratic Party to think of Donald Trump as a remotely preferable alternative. Donald Trump is terrible. The Republicans are offensive beyond comprehension. But the solution is not the Democrats. The solution is a final terminal bypass of these two utterly corrupt political parties. And the Democrats are...
And he's got one little thing, and the Democrats
desperately fighting to try to convince you and everybody else that the only problem is the Republicans and Trump, and that they are quite actually perfect in their own way, when they are the ones who are the biggest contributors to the Trump campaign and the Trump problem.
There you go. So there you go, Cliff. Now you know. It's actually the Democrats who are the biggest contributor to the Trump campaign and the Trump problem, because what he tried to say was that I love having Trump as president. Harder to do is to, so that's what they like to do. If you disagree with them, they like to say, "Oh, you like Trump." And I just had Dylan Radican explain to you, no, it's actually you guys who like Trump. It was actually Hillary Clinton who chose Donald Trump through the Pied Piper strategy and from pukes like you and the media that they control to prop up Donald Trump, so that now we actually have the only guy Hillary Clinton couldn't fucking beat was Donald Trump, and now we have him as our president. And I hope you watch. I know you're still watching. So now you learned a little something, and now you can say, thank you, Jimmy Dore, you dumb nightclub jagoff. Thanks for educating a stuffed shirt like me. Our next live Jimmy Dore show is November 5th in Buffalo, New York, November 17th in Philadelphia, and December 27th in Honolulu. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all of our live shows, and become a patron or a Jimmy Dore Show member at jimmydorecomedy.com/join, and support the show. We give you hours of bonus content every week. Thanks for your support.